We are picking back up for the last two problems in lesson 2.2 part 1. And remember, and I don't have all my slides up here still, but I have the basics. Standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c, right? So we don't just know the vertex by looking. We have to use the axis of symmetry formula, x equals negative b over 2a. And then we have to be able to find the vertex. So once you know your x-coordinate, plug it in to find your y-coordinate. When you're graphing, we talked about using a y-intercept, right? So it's all about finding the axis of symmetry and vertex today. When we graphed, as I said, the add-on was finding the y-intercept, so we could use that information. Now, we're down to the word problems. And I suggested that if you start the homework, you could start the homework if you wanted to, but I would avoid these type of problems. Well, now we're ready to talk about it. So, the graph of the function y equals negative 10x squared plus 700x minus 6,000 shows the profit a company earns for selling headphones at different prices. What is the maximum profit the company can expect to earn? Okay. So notice we have an equation here that shows profit. We want to know the maximum profit. And we have a lovely little graph there that represents that equation. Thoughts on what we might do? If you need a hint, we talked about minimums and maximums earlier last week, and where a minimum or in this case, maximum might occur. The vertex. Because what do you notice about this parabola? It's upside down, right? We know it's upside down because my a value is negative. And so my maximum is going to be at the top of that parabola. That means we need to find the vertex. Okay? So, this goes back to what we did on Friday, finding the vertex. Can you tell me your our ABCs? What is A?
Minus 10.
Okay, the negative 10 because it's in front of x squared. What is B? 700 because it's the number in front of x. And that makes C negative 6,000. The constant at the end without a variable associated. So, let's work to find our axis of symmetry. Okay, so axis of symmetry, you're using that formula. X equals the negative of b over 2a. Negative of b. What's b? 700. So the negative of 700 divided by 2 times a, which is negative 10. Okay? So let's see, what are we at? Negative 700 divided by negative 20. I personally know a negative divided by a negative is going to result in a positive. I don't know if you guys were ever taught this, but my brain says cancel a set of zeros. And then instead of doing 700 divided by 20, my brain is doing 70 divided by 2. And that puts me at what? Half of 70 is 35. Okay, so I have an axis of symmetry that is x equals 35. Now, is that what they asked me for? No. That x equals 35 represents that line right there, which we could have probably guessed 35, but you know. So now we need to work to find our what? Vertex. We want that maximum. We want to know how high are things going. So right now, I know my vertex is 35, comma, something. What do I do with 35? Take it and plug it into your original equation. So y equals negative 10 times 35 squared plus 700 times 35 minus 6,000. I know we haven't used calculators much, but I never said we weren't going to use them. By all means, get your calculator out, folks. I do have some up here you're welcome to borrow. Just make sure you put them back, of course. $35 squared is what? Or are you guys all at your own pace? 35 squared looks like it's probably 1,225. And then when I times that by negative 10, it becomes negative 12,250 plus 700 times 35. $24,500 minus 6,000. What's the calculator telling you?
6,250.
Okay, that agrees with my paper. Okay, so 6,250 is the other half of the vertex. Does 6,250 make sense based on the picture they showed me? It does. Now, what is the answer to this question? What is the max profit the company can expect to earn?
$6,250.
Yep. Your max is how high does it go? And it goes to $6,250. Now, when does that maximum happen? When the selling price is $35. So that the axis of symmetry, your X, represents the selling price. Now, is that what they asked? No, they just asked the maximum profit. But I would say the selling price of $35 per item earns the maximum profit of $6,250. Now, do I have room to write all that? On my paper, I did. I'm going to say the selling price of $35 earns the max profit of $6,250. Okay? And again, it's not that you necessarily have to write it out in a sentence, but it is good to be able to make sure you can express everything. Okay? Questions on that one? It's a word problem. I know. General consensus among math students, word problems are scary, but it doesn't have to be, folks. Keyword, they ask for max profit. When we talk max or min, remember, you're looking for the vertex. It all goes together. Okay. Let's go throw a water balloon from a window. Sound good? Water balloon was thrown from a window. The height of the water balloon over time can be modeled by this given function. What was the maximum height of the water balloon after it was thrown? Can you take a guess what we need to do? Max height is going to be where? the top of that graph, the top of that parabola. Or in other words, at the vertex. Okay, so same process. A is negative 16. B is 160. C is 50. So I start by finding my axis of symmetry. Negative B over 2A. No excuses about forgetting that formula. Turn back a page. It's in your notes, yes? No excuses of, oh, I don't remember the formula. It's right there for you in black and white. So, negative B, negative 160 over 2A, 2 times negative 16. Well, my mental math tells me negative 160 divided by negative 32. My mental math doesn't want to work harder than that. Oh, I should have known that. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 160 divided by 32 is 5. So axis of symmetry is x equals 5. Now, does that make sense on the graph? It does. And some of you may be like, oh, why did we even do that? We could have just looked at the graph. I get that. Are they always going to give you a picture of the graph? No. We have to know how to do it without the picture of the graph. Okay? Okay. What do I know about my vertex at this exact moment? It's 5 something. Plug that 5 in. Negative 16 times 5 squared plus 160 times 5 plus 50. I know 5 squared is 25. 25 times negative 16 is negative 400 plus 160 times 5. Well, I know 5 times 16 is 80, so it's going to be 800 plus 50. Negative 400 plus 800 is 400 plus 50 looks to be 450 to me. Okay, that gives me a vertex of 5, 450. Does that look like it on the graph? Yeah. Okay, the graph gives you a nice option to reassure yourself that, yeah, looks like my answer's in the right ballpark. What's my answer? What is the maximum height of the water balloon after it was thrown? $450? I don't know. I'm horrible with distances, but that sounds high. I don't know. Maybe it's not, but it seems like a big number. So, now, when does that max height of 450, is it feet, I assume? Yes, feet occur. What is that, 5?
5 seconds.
Yeah. 5 seconds after that water balloon is thrown, it's going to hit its max height of 450. That is some serious throwing power. That water balloon's going to be in the air 10 seconds? Oof. Sounds like it to me. So, yeah. Water balloon reaches a max height 5 seconds after it was thrown. And I don't really have room to write that, but I'll just max height of 450 feet, 5 seconds after it was thrown. Okay, and by the way, if you're not sure, how'd you know it was feet? How'd you know it was seconds? I'm using the labels on my graph right there. They didn't necessarily say that it was feet and seconds that it was measured in, but I'm using the labels on my graph. Okay, questions on this? Okay, so you have lesson 2.2, part 1 homework. It was opened on Friday, and I have it listed as due tomorrow, I believe. I need to double check and make sure I changed that due date. I think I did. Otherwise, it's due, like, in an hour, but I don't think that's true. I think I got the due date changed. If not, I will. Okay?